Hi, and welcome to the episode 4 of the Milha's Knitting podcast. Today is the 5th of August 2023, and I am coming to you from Switzerland, the French-speaking part of Switzerland, where I live with my gecko, and that's all. I don't have a cat. Sorry. I am back from my first week of holidays, yesterday actually. I went to France with my boyfriend. We went climbing and we were living the van life for a whole week, which was absolutely perfect and nice, but somehow I caught something, and if I sound a little bit nosy to you, maybe that's why. I have my nose is itchy and I'm not feeling the greatest, but I am fine enough to film today. So here I am. I am also today drinking coffee, which is, weirdly enough, the first time in my life I am drinking coffee and you are witnessing it. The reason for that is because I thought it was tea, because this is the label that I drank, which is obviously in Korean, and I can't read Korean, but it's written peach, thyme, jasmine, hibiscus, plum, so I thought, oh, it looks like tea. No, it's coffee. When I opened the package, I could see the packet or whatever was not in the shape of something you would use for tea. I have taken a picture, I can show you. So I guessed it was coffee, so I prepared it like coffee, and it tastes like coffee, and it's disgusting. There is a reason for which I have never drunk coffee in my life, and I hate it. So I am not really feeling the peach, thyme, jasmine, hibiscus and plum. I am just feeling the coffee and I don't like it, but I shall finish it, and afterwards maybe I will reward myself with a really nice and real tea if I ever get to the end of this. I put sugar in, but yeah, no. Why do you all like coffee? I don't understand. Anyway, today I will talk to you about my finished object, which is this one. And I have 3 WIPs going on, and also one finished object. I talked about it in my latest video, but more on that later. So I think that's it for the program of today. I will leave links of everything I talk about down in the description box, as well as my measurements if you're interested. And I will also write everything on the screen. And I think that's it. Yeah, you can find me on the Instagram as milha's.tix. So, let's start with what I'm wearing, which is the Simplistic Rib Cami by Luca. I still don't know how to pronounce it, sorry. It's a rib camisole. There is nothing more about it. It's wearing its name really well, because it is simplistic in the look, but it wasn't simplistic to knit at all. I mean, it was easy to knit, but there are a lot of different increase rates, and the front and the backs are different. So yeah, it was really involved. The triangles there on the front and the back were I really had to be in a quiet place, following the instructions slowly. So I wouldn't recommend that if you don't have access to a quiet environment. Also, the pattern was written in a way where you had like big chunks of text describing what you had to do, and those chunks of text were repeated throughout the pattern instead of just writing repeat instructions. So, but there were sometimes some differences, so it was really a bit annoying because I had to look out for the differences in each instructions. So it wasn't really the most easy experience, but it was still easy to knit and simple. So, and I'm really happy with the result. I used West Yorkshire Spinners Blue Face Leicester DK base in the colorway Fossil, and I used exactly 123 grams. It's a little bit short. It's an awkward length because it's hitting like 1 centimeter above my waist. I always wear either skirts or shorts that are this height, and I'm not really happy about this, but I don't have any yarn left. This was a leftover project, so I can't do anything about it, so I will just live with it. And also, I guess it's non-superwash yarns, I still don't know. So it's really warm. It would be warm even if it was superwash yarns because it's rib and it's decay and it's a really tight gauge, but it's okay for today. Oh yeah, and also it was a really quick knit because first I did it cropped. I think the original pattern goes like even 15 centimeters lower. But yeah, since I did it cropped, and also I like knitting ribbing on small needles, I used 3mm needles. I think I did this in like 1 week. Or maybe in total it took me 3 weeks, but I had more than 10 days with this on hold because I was waiting to rescue yarn from another project to use up everything I had in the last part here. I did an Italian bind off, even though the pattern suggests you not to do it, because it can flare out, but I'm a master of Italian bind off. It's my favorite way to finish everything, so it's not flaring out, it's perfect, and it's happy. It's easy to put on and off. I don't have any troubles with this being too tight, so it's perfect. The only modification I made is I added, can you see that? I added discrete decreases on the line, here on the waistline, because I was playing yarn chicken and I wanted to have the more length I could. Because since it's ribbing, this wasn't really necessary, but I did it, it worked, so perfect. Oh yeah, and last thing, I mentioned I have a weird zigzagging going on the flat parts, while on the knit in the round parts it's not happening, and that's because my pearls are leaning away, like left, I don't know, and my knits are leaning the other way, so when I'm knitting flat in ribbing, I have this zigzagging pattern, which does not happen when I'm knitting in the round, and I thought it would block out. It didn't. It's more visible on the back because there is a bigger section flat, but really nobody will notice, and anyway I have my hair on them, and even if I have my hair up, who will be looking at this? Who will notice? Nobody, I don't care. So it's perfect and I'm happy with it. Next up we have my finished object, which I mentioned in the last video I put up on YouTube, which is a marathon of finishing my WIPs and UFOs, my works in progress and my unfinished objects, from when I began knitting. No, not really, but this one was maybe 1.5 years and probably even 2 years old. I crocheted, no, maybe the pattern first, sorry. This is the Easy Crochet Headband by Tanya Crochet. I found a tutorial on YouTube and I just followed the video. So this is crocheted on 4mm crochet hook, and I'm using Lang Yarns Merino 120 in the colorway, it's a Bordeaux colorway. They don't really have a name, they have numbers and I don't know it by heart, so it's Bordeaux. The crocheting took me like maybe 2 days, even less. I used to crochet before I picked up, no, that's not true. I picked up knitting, then crochet maybe 2 days later. And then I really preferred crochet over knitting, so I did that for a year. And then I came back to knitting and really preferred it to crochet, and now I am mainly just knitting, but I'm really fast with crochet too. So this was made a long time ago, and the problem is I hate sewing with knit or crochet fabric, and I wasn't sure of the size because this is for a friend of mine that I don't have under my hand, so I couldn't really try it on her. And this is superwash yarn, so it was going to grow, and I wasn't sure what would happen after I put the lining, which would not grow because it's fabric. So I just didn't touch it for 2 years. But now it's done. And if you're interested in that video, I finished maybe 4 or 5 other WIPs. So it's a really satisfying video, and it's on my channel if you want to see it. So yeah, that's another finished object. which is a little bit too big for me, or maybe not if I have my hair down. But yeah, my friend has a bigger head than me, so it should be nice. But it's a little bit too narrow, which is not very practical because I have small ears and she does too, but yeah, it's not really, can you see that? It's not really covering anything. So yeah, not 100% happy, but I will just gift it to her and see what she says. It's worse. The more I get down, it's worse. Get down, get to the bottom of the glass. I hate it. So, my next work in progress, I have 3. 2 of them are huge and 1 is small. Okay, I will begin with one with which I have the most issues. I have mentioned this pattern, this as a plan in my latest podcast, and this is the Moon Set Tee by Ozetta. And I am knitting it using Lani Vendol, which is an Italian brand, and the base is Estiva, which is a wool and linen blend, and the colorway is Poseidone. I really love this yarn. This is the end of my second skein. It's 50-gram skeins. I have 4, and I was thinking I'm already almost to the end of the project. I have only used 1.5 skein. What am I going to do with the 2 skeins I have left? I will use them because this is way too small. I am knitting size 1 on 3mm needles, which is probably what's suggested in the pattern, maybe 3.25, I don't know, and it's just too small. I knitted exactly to pattern. The construction was really involved, not difficult, but involved, and I really loved doing it. But yeah, what happens is my gauge is bottom. This is blocked, by the way. I blocked it before finishing the body, and I did great because it's not fitting. So, and also I knit this in a week, so I don't really mind. I'm gonna have to start almost from the beginning, but yeah, let me explain. First, wanted to mention about the yarn. This is the label. This is on sale right now. It's really beautiful. I really like it. It's very lightweight and the fabric is lovely. It's drapey, it's nice. It's a little bit scratchy, so I wouldn't recommend it for fitting garments, but yeah, it's a linen blend. It's not very stretchy to begin with. No, at least this one is, because there is a lot of wool. Also, it's not super wash. I am so all over the place today. I'm sorry. Maybe it's the coffee? I don't know. Or maybe it's because I'm sick. Anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, the yarn is on sale right now, so I would recommend, if you're interested, now is the time. It's not really expensive to begin with. It's like 15 euros, maybe 12 euros, something like that, per skein, per 50 grams, which is per 100 grams, yeah, it's 24. And for a hand-dyed, non-superwash yarn made locally in Italy, it's really, really good price point. So I would really, really recommend that. And yeah, it's really lovely, like so lovely. A little bit scratchy, but if you're used to non-superwash yarns, it's really so nice. So yeah, it's on sale right now. They are going on holidays, so it won't be shipped until September, but I'm pretty sure you have a stash under your hand to help you wait until it gets to you. I just don't want to put it on because it's not comfortable. So I'm trying to push back the moment I will have to put it on myself. Yeah, I have something to add before. So this is it's with this piece that I had a major breakthrough in the understanding of my own sizing, because I am kind of petite, but not really, because what happens is I have a really small bust. I'm like 80 centimeters, maybe 81 now, I don't know, which is 31 inches, so it's really small. But whenever I choose patterns based on my bust measurement, and that those patterns involve, like drop shoulders or something, involve a lot of stuff going on in the shoulders. Like with raglan, I don't really have a problem, and round yoke either. But with drop shoulders or something fitted that has sleeves, short or long, whatever, it's always too tight over here, and I don't understand because I should be fine with the measurements based on the size I choose, because my bust is small, so I have always been assuming that everything is small for me. And lately I have discovered that my arms are not. My arms are probably 3 sizes bigger. And I just understood with this one that actually it's not only my shoulders, it's everything in my body. That's like size 3 in general, so that would be M, XS, M, I don't know. And it's only my bust and my waist that are XS, or the smallest size, size 1, which explains why I always have trouble with everything that has shoulders and that is involving something with the fabric under the arm not being really far from my underarm. Don't know how to say that. Like with a round yoke, usually you have a lot of room here, and the separation for the sleeves happens far from your arm, underarm. Same with raglan. But with drop shoulders, you have a lot of extra fabric there, and I always have the problem of the opening being too short. And that's not because the length from this point to this point is big, but I guess it's because the width of my shoulder is too big, like too... I don't know how to say it, but like if you see me from the side, it's not even that obvious, so that's why I had so much trouble understanding what this, but this is bigger than what my bust measurement suggests. So I'm not saying my arm, I am saying the distance between this point and my back. I just am large in this direction, but not really in, like here too, I have wide shoulders too. Anyway, this is hard to explain, I will just put this on. Okay, so I don't have a mirror, so I don't really know what I'm showing. I hope it will be okay. And so maybe you can see, this is like touching my armpits. It's really uncomfortable. And I mentioned the yarn is non-superwash, and it's really not smooth. I mean, it is, but it's scratchy when it's really close to your skin, which is the case here. So it's really not nice to wear. And so yeah, what happens, you can see there are quite a lot of issues. Maybe I have the pattern picture here to see what it's supposed to look like. I probably put it here, it's easier to see here or here. And yeah, you can see the v-neck is way too high, and it looks like I have no positive ease, even though I do, but it's all in the back for some reason. And this is going way too high, it should be like here, or maybe I don't want to touch too much on it, but yeah, this is going too high. And what else? Oh, my gauge is not correct on the sleeves. It's too tight because it's a small circumference, and I know I have a tendency to do this. But yeah, so this is on me. It's not supposed to be this fitting. But anyway, it's not okay. So I couldn't understand, because if I take the extra fabric that's on the back and I put it to the front, I have a little bit of extra fabric, which is the positive ease, but it absolutely doesn't look like I have any when I'm wearing it. After a lot of thinking, I finally understood that the problem is I have this part above my bust is size 3 or even bigger, while this is size 1, really small. So what's happening is that all the fabric that should be laying nicely under this part is just pulled up to my shoulders, and there is not enough fabric left on the bottom part. So you could say, yeah, just knit it longer. No, that's not exactly it, because the collar, the v-neck is getting pulled up, because this is, my shoulders are tugging on the fabric this direction and also on this direction. So this is why the armpit is going up, even though this length is okay, but the problem is, since this is wider in this direction, the circle, which should be oval, is getting rounder, so that's why the bottom is pulled up. And yeah, so it's really not fitting. So anyway, I have another t-shirt that I'm gonna show you later that is really kind of the same as what I'm aiming for this one, and it's a store-bought t-shirt that I love a lot, and I kind of wanted to replace it with this one. So what happens with this t-shirt, it's also a drop shoulder, but it's a set-in sleeve, which means, I will put up a picture or something, it means that the shoulders are narrower than the body because you add stitches, you make increases under the arms, and the sleeves are set inside those increases, while a drop shoulders like this one is straight from the shoulder to the body. There are no increases here, and the sleeve is just coming out from that. And I didn't want to just knit like size 3 for this one, because the shoulder is already dropping pretty down on my shoulder, which I don't like. I think it's not flattering on me. Can you see I'm having troubles to breathe? That's because I have put on a bra for the first time in like 2 years. I never put any on, but since this is a little bit too fitting, it was really looking weird if I don't have any. And I'm so not used to wearing that I can't breathe. Oh my god. What I will try to do is rip back the whole sleeves, the whole in the round knitting, and the whole front until I have started the increases for the v-neck, which happens around here. After the pickup, you knit the back panel, like a trapezoidal thing, pick up from the shoulders, knit straight for the part that goes over the shoulder, and then start knitting increases for the v-neck while knitting straight on this side, and then you join with the back, knitting around, and pick up for the sleeves. What I will do is do the increases differently so that I have a deeper v-neck, because this is too small, because this is being, my back is too, I don't know what's happening, but this is too small. And so I will change the shaping. Wow. I will change the shaping of the v-neck, and I will add increases under the arms after the point where I should join, which means I will get a deeper armhole in this direction, and also I will add fabric to the body so that I have a little more positive ease. And it will also add more circumference to the sleeve, because I will add a little diagonal part here. What I'm not sure about is how to knit a satin sleeve without a sleeve cap, because usually with a satin sleeve the shoulder is here, so you knit a little sleeve cap for the part that's not going straight out of your shoulder, and then you knit in the round once you have reached the underarm part with your sleeve cap. But since this is a drop shoulder, I'm not sure how I can do a sleeve cap just here until here, even though I will have fabric there. I don't know if this is making sense, but yeah, I'm not sure about the sleeves, but I will see when I get there. I guess it's easier than the rest. So I shall rip almost everything out. And what I was saying with the yarn, I have 4 skeins, and I was kind of disappointed of using only 1.5 or 2. I will use a lot more yarn to do the modifications I'm about to do, so I think I will use 2.5, maybe more. And that's a little less leftover for me, which is nice, but also not really, because now I don't have enough to do another real project, so I don't know. I hate leftovers, can you tell? I can't breathe. I'm gonna remove this. I feel better. So yeah, I think that's all with this project. And since I knit it in only 1 week, it's probably gonna take me 1 week to get back to this point, because I won't have to do the back piece again, and nor the complicated part with the picking up of the shoulder stitches and the back of the collar, which was a little bit complex. but still easy to do. So since I can keep all of these parts, it should be really quick. So that's it for this one, I think. And oh yeah, completely forget to mention that every time, but I am using stitch marker, stitch marker from Hello Lavender Designs, and it's this very cute floral thing, which I think the color goes very well with the teal of the fabric. So yeah, and the project bag is the one I got for the 2022 Mystery Knits from Steven West. 2022? Yeah. So that's it. I'm not finishing it. So the next project will be a big one too, but it is currently drying right before you. I had to block it yesterday, so I can only show you the yarn. This is the second ball. I have two, and I just finished the first one. So this is Noro Kakigori in the colorway Inazawa. I am test knitting for Lily Kate France the Piping Hot Sweater. We are like 2 weeks or maybe 2.5 into the testing, and everything is going well. But I had a major panic attack yesterday. So what happened is I cast on the test knit right after I got stuck with my Moon Set Tee. I had done like the shoulders. It's a saddle shoulder design. I had done the saddle shoulders and just began the back, and then I went on holiday. So I just took my yarn with me, my project with me, some stitch markers, and we went on a road trip, which means I had a lot of knitting time, but in the van. It's a very old van. It's a, how do we say that? It's a collection piece. It's an old T3 Volkswagen van, like this one. it's this, and it's old. It's from the 90s, and of course it doesn't have AC, so it's really hot. And we were going down to the south of France, not really the south of France, but souther than where I am. I am in Switzerland, so it's in the middle of France, and we were even going down. So it was like 30 degrees out without AC for 5 hours in the car. It was getting hot. My brain was getting fried, and I knew the conditions were a little bit risky, and I didn't have enough stitch markers, and I had to knit a certain amount for the back before doing the increases for the armholes, and I miscounted, but I didn't notice. And funnily enough, I did exactly the same mistake on the front, because I did the back first, did the increases for the underarm, and then picked up the front, did the front, joined after the collar, did the armholes, the armhole increases, joined in the round, did the whole body. This took me the whole week of holidays. It was perfect knitting, just in the round with the piping detail. That's really easy to do, really nice. Did the ribbing, did the Italian bind off, came home yesterday after again 5 hours of driving, not driving, but 5 hours in a van without AC by 30 degrees out. Brain was fried again. And when I got home, you're gonna have a little sneak peek at my life. But basically the holidays were perfect, but when I got home I got slapped in the face by reality. It was really, really hard, and I cried for a solid 2 hours for various matters. And suddenly I decided, okay, get your life together, Maya, now act like an adult, and you're gonna knit to get yourself out of your misery. So I picked up my sweater and started to pick up the stitches for the sleeves, and I couldn't get the right stitch count. I tried maybe 3 times and I couldn't, so I took the pattern and did some math to calculate how much stitches I had in total, no, how much rows I had total for the armhole, and how many I was supposed to pick up based on the pickup rate. And actually, the math were good. It was adding up, it was perfect, but in my head, we were missing 10. We were missing 10 stitches, even though we were not, but I couldn't count. And I didn't see that I was missing 10 rows both on the front and on the back, which is why I couldn't pick up enough stitches, but I assumed it was in the math that there were some errors. So I messaged Lily saying, hey, I don't understand what's going on. At least I didn't say, I think there is a mistake in your pattern. I just said, I don't understand, there is something that's not working. What's wrong with me? And I even put the calculation, the math in my message. And it was adding up, it was correct, but I was like, it doesn't add up. Lily was really nice and she answered really, really nicely, and she made other calculation in another form to show me it was correct. So I counted my rows for the first time and then I noticed I was missing 10 both on the front and on the back, which is amazing. I'm amazing. But what's also amazing is that I had a lot of problems going on in my life right now. But apparently, self-confidence isn't one of them, because I was cocky enough to believe that after 5 hours drive in 30 degrees without AC and after crying for 2 hours, maybe I could do math correct. No, absolutely not. So yeah, yesterday was a lot of highs and lows. So when I noticed I was missing that many rows in the front and back, I said to Lily, okay, I'm just gonna block it now and see how much it grows, because I am using, this yarn is a mix of silk, cotton, viscose and polyamide, which makes it, there is no wool inside this, so there is no memory. So it's gonna grow a lot with washing, which I knew and accounted for when I knit the body. You are supposed to knit like 25 centimeters and I knit maybe 23, knowing it would grow with blocking. So I said, okay, it is gonna grow. I will try to block it a little bit aggressively on the length and see how much I can get back from the missing 10 rows for this section. And fortunately, the blocking gods were good with me and I did manage to stretch it enough. I am missing maybe 1 centimeter instead of the 3 I was supposed to miss, even more. So this is good. But what I noticed is when I knit my swatch, my first swatch, that's, I don't know what it is, the gauge was a little bit on the looser side. I did get gauge, but I had to fiddle a little bit with my gauge. Like, you know, if you tug on it on set direction, you can get your stitches to move a little bit, especially with the silk and cotton yarn. And I could get the gauge I wanted if I tugged on it lengthwise, which will shrink the stitches. And knowing my stitch gauge was a little bit loose, I know I tend to knit tighter in these cases, but then I overcompensated and my gauge was too tight on the finished piece, which means the body is also a little bit too small. I'm so annoyed by myself. And also because I had to stretch it so much lengthwise, I probably even lost a little bit, even more width than before. But it's not a lot, it's like 3 centimeters in the whole circumference. I am like 94 centimeters instead of 97, so really not a big deal. But I am still annoyed because my gauge was fine and it would be even more fine or even more perfect if I just knit the same way I did my gauge swatch, because I would have stretched it lengthwise more easily. And yeah, anyway, it doesn't matter. It's still okay, it's still fitting. But the other reason why it's a little bit annoying is that if I read the sizing charts she put up for the pattern, I fall in size 2. Actually no, I am between sizes, but I am closer to size 2. So I should have knit size 2. But since I am between sizes, I do whatever I want. But this was a test knit, so I believed it was better for me to knit size 2. So I asked her beforehand and I said, yeah, I suppose it would be harder for you to find tester for size 1 because I know I am really far on the smaller end of the scale. So I said, if it's okay for you, I can knit size 1 because I am between anyway. And she said, okay, knit size 1. But now it's even smaller than size 1. So yeah, I'm a little bit uncomfortable with this, but she said it was okay. I sent her the exact measurements of my blocked piece and she said it was okay. But yeah, I'm still not very happy with myself. But also, I know deep down, I know it's silk and cotton, and it's probably going to grow even more with wear, stretch out in every direction, so in the end it will be okay, I know. But I'm still annoyed, especially by the fact that how could I think my math could be correct in the state of mind I was? I don't know. So yeah. Oh, and another thing, I will show you a picture. This yarn is a single ply, which means it's unbalanced by nature, because usually in a plied yarn, I'm not going to be able to show this to you, but you have 2, 3 or more plies that are, each individual strand of yarn is twisted in a certain direction, and when you ply them together you twist in the opposite direction, which makes your yarn be balanced. And when you take the example I can give is when you take a skein, like in the circle form, if you hold your skein like this, it's gonna be straight, it's gonna hang straight. And if your yarn is unbalanced, it's gonna twist on itself, because there is like energy stored inside the thread that's gonna transfer into a twisting form. That's just what happens. And with a single ply, you cannot balance the twist of different plies together by twisting them in the other direction, which means a single ply are, most of the time, not always, but most of the time, they are more prone to be unbalanced, which results, when you are knitting it, in the biasing fabric. Which is exactly what happened with my project, and it would have been fine if it was only stockinette, but there is a very obvious vertical piping detail, which is the main feature of the pattern, that's going right in the middle of the fabric, so it's biasing like crazy. I could have seen it coming, but I didn't, because I had never knit with single ply, and I knew this problem existed, but I just forgot it would happen. And yeah, so I hope it will block out. I blocked it so that it would be straight, but yeah, Lily said in her experience biasing doesn't come out with blocking, so this is also annoying. In the end, I'm not too worried about this, because for the pictures I can just put it straight, take the picture, and then it will bias whenever I wear it in real life, but for real life I don't care. It's okay for me. It's fine, but it's annoying. Also, I didn't mention the yarn I use for the piping. So when I was in the store, I went to my local yarn shop and I chose this one first, and then I had to choose a contrasting yarn. So at first I was like, purple, how do you call it? The opposite color in the color wheel is yellow. So I thought maybe mustard yellow or something would be nice. Didn't work out because there are a lot of other colors in there, and none of these were really working with a mustard yellow. So I figured I should maybe take one of those. So we have hot pink in there, we have turquoise and navy blue and some black and light blue too. So I was looking around trying to choose one of those colors, and I finally decided to buy this one, which is, funnily enough, which is exactly the same color of the project I had going on at the time. It was really in my bag and I didn't notice it was the same, and that I had a lot of leftovers of this and didn't have to buy this, but anyway, I bought it. And when I got home, I wasn't really 100% convinced by this, and I said to the lady in the store, I'm gonna take it, but if I find anything better in my stash, I will just return it to you. Got home, opened my yarn cabinet, and I saw a leftover yarn, which was exactly a white yarn variegated with purple, light pink, and light blue. And I was like, why didn't I think about it sooner? And I knew before going out to the local yarn store, I looked at my yarn cabinet and I saw, oh, it would be nice to use this yarn for the pipings. And I just forgot about it. So yeah, in the end, that's what I'm using, it's perfect. And also the amount I have of the leftover is spot on what I need. So that's a big, big win for me with this project. But I didn't make it on purpose, so. For the last work in progress, it's gonna be much shorter, I promise. So this is living in a random bag I sewed with the leftover fabrics. It's really just a drawstring bag with pockets inside that are too small to put anything in, so I'm knitting socks, self-striping socks, and it's the first time for me using self-striping yarn, and I'm loving it. I'm usually pretty quick to knit socks, but this is going like super fast. I think I cast on last Tuesday on holidays, and I knit the whole body of a sweater next to that, but I still finished the socks. So yeah. I am using, the yarn brand is Le Bruit des Aiguilles, which is a French dyer. The name of the dyer is Anna. She's really cute, really nice, and she does a mystery club based on each month, based on films. She takes screenshots of films and then she dyes a self-striping and a variegated colorway based on the colors on these screenshots. So this one is a film I haven't seen actually, which is 500 jours ensemble, and I have no idea what's the original title in English. And I have the 50-gram balls. You can choose between 50 grams or 100 gram. So I chose the 50 gram and the 20-gram mini skein, which is one of the colors that's inside the striping pattern. So I have knit a sock, and I knitted toe up on, I used magic loop, those Chaogu needles for the toe and for the heel actually, and I used 9-inch small circulars for the leg and foot. So I used the Turkish cast on 8 stitches, increased on one side, no, on both sides, the same rate, then stopped on one side, continued increasing on the other, so that the fit is perfect on my toes. Then I knit straight, did a small gusset before the heel. It's a fish lips kiss heel. I added 6 stitches total, which is 3 increase rounds, did the heel, and then did another gusset to decrease the stitches. Can you see that? Did the leg and then finished with the ribbed cuff and Italian bind off because I love them. And it's flaring out a bit, but I don't care because whenever I wear the socks, it's gonna be stretched out, so who cares if the bind off of your sock is flaring out. And what's funny about these socks is how my standards got lower and lower the more I knit on them. Because when I first began, I had this skein and I was like, I don't care for matching socks. It's gonna be too complicated to match the stripes on each sock, and also I mentioned I hate leftovers. Since I had never knit socks with a self-striping and a mini, I didn't know actually how much I would use, but I figured I want to divide this in exact half and just knit 2 socks using all of the yarn. And when I began toe, I knit in the contrasting color, and then I started knitting right away with the striping yarn. And then I saw, oh, I only have 2 rows in the first stripe, which doesn't look good. But I couldn't rip that out just because it looks weird. So I thought, okay, let's just roll with it. And then I continued, and then I got to the heel and thought, I'm not sure I want the heel to cut in the middle of a stripe. It's looking weird, so I will just make it so that it's at the junction between 2 stripes. And then I thought, oh, if I want the second sock to also have a heel at the junction of 2 stripes, I need to begin also in the middle of a stripe for the toe. So it was starting to get complicated in my head, and I knit the leg, and then I thought, I don't have enough contrasting yarn to do all the cuff in this color, so I will have to do it in the striping pattern, and I don't want the cuff to begin in the middle of a color either, so I have to do matching socks. I just have to, because otherwise one of the socks will have really good placement of the heel and the cuff, and the other one won't. So I just finished the cuff in the middle of the blue stripes, the light blue I had here, so that when I begin the second sock it will be matching and it should be fine. Which is a little bit annoying, but at the same time I will have matching socks, so why not? And I will also have a lot of leftover yarn because I have 30 grams here, which means I used 20 for a sock and I have 50 grams total. So I will be left with 10 grams of self-striping yarn and I am incredibly annoyed. And I will have maybe 2 grams left of this, or 4, I don't know. So I don't know what I will do. I will find something, maybe. So that's it. I don't have any plans for the future because I have two big WIPs going on and this one, so I have more than enough to keep me occupied during the rest of my holidays. For the next time I will be filming, it will probably be in 3 weeks because, as I just mentioned, I am just in the first third of my holiday. I have 1 week here and then another week where I'm going climbing again in the van, which means next episode will be in around 3 weeks. If it's of any interest to you. And if it is, you can subscribe to my channel to be notified whenever that new episode comes up. I think that's it for today. I don't have a lot of footage of my holidays because whenever I'm leaving for climbing or whatever, I am kind of offline. I don't use my phone because I don't have much data when I'm abroad, which means I cannot really be on Instagram or WhatsApp or whatever, so I just don't touch my phone. I just live in the moment, as you would say, and I don't have a lot of footage, so if I can find some, I will put it up, and if I don't find any, well, thank you for being here with me today. I hope it was entertaining and that my voice didn't sound too weird. Also, why do you drink coffee? I don't understand. I shall now make myself some tea to compensate for the terrible experience I just had to live. And that's it for today, so I hope you have a great rest of your day. I wish you happy holidays if you are in holidays like me, and I wish you a lot of courage to get through working during summertime if you don't have any holidays. And in any case, happy knitting. Bye!